こえます。そっちに入っちゃった。Hello。最初の振りだけネット中継はいつから？もう始まってる。About to start。そうか、ネット中継を裏技取りとかないと半額するからね。ちょっと抜きますね。僕のブラウザでこれユーストリームを立ち上げるとやばいんだな。回っちゃうでしょ。Keep working. Because it's morning there. It's 10 in the morning. 10 in the morning, so you got an email. はい、今日は皆さんどうもお集まりいただきましてありがとうございます。今日はですね、ファブラボ世界会議 FAB10 に向けてということで、ファブラボバルセロナのトーマスさんをお招きしてですね、今ファブというキーワードをめぐって僕らが横浜で活動していることだとか、田中裕也先生のところでの最近の動き、またファブラボ鎌倉の動きなどを交えてですね、お話をしていきたいなと思います。で、皆さんご存知のように昨年の夏、FAB10が横浜で開催されまして、39カ国から250人以上のそのファブラボの関係者がこの横浜に集まりまして、このさくらワークスもですねオフィシャルの会場の一つになりました。今日はですねトーマスさん、からですねまず、全体の、最初にですねお話を30分ぐらいいただいて、その後田中裕也先生また渡辺優香さんからですね、それぞれお話をいただいて後半でディスカッションというような進行にしたいと思ってます。ですね、僕は横浜コミュニティデザインラボという NPO の代表をしている杉浦と申します。今日ここの皆さんいらしている場所はさくらワークスという、シェアオフィスになっておりまして、この同じフロアの向こう側にですねこの半分ぐらいの大きさのスペースがありまして、そこにファブラボコワーキングスペースコールさくらワークス 3D プリンターとかレーザーカッターとかものづくりの機械が大体毎週末土曜日日曜日ものづくりの場としてFabrication stuff。じゃあ今日の進め方も含めてじゃあ田中先生にマイクを渡してですね、まず第1位いきたいと思います。皆さんよろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。
Hello everyone。慶応義塾大学環境情報学部の田中裕也と申します。
My name is Hiroya Tanaka from Keio University。
今杉浦さんからご紹介があった通り、
As Sugiura-san introduced me,
国際会議を横浜を舞台に、
there was a FAB9 last year in Yokohama.
やりましたで、ちょうど今日が6ヶ月目になります。
This is just about 6 months since then.
トーマスが今企
And
画してい
actually
まして、
FAB10 is
どんなことを
which Thomas is organizing now.
思っているのか考えているという話をするわけですが、
And we are going to hear what's going on with the preparation. Actually today is a kind of just half of the point and we call it FAB9.5.
それで、ちょっと事前にお伝えしていなくて申し訳なかったんですけども、 結構ユーストリームで世界の人が見ていまして、
Yeah, actually, we didn't have any announcement, but we are going to
録画されて YouTube にも上がるというので、
Yeah, actually, you are on Ustream also, and also
10:45 in Spain, スペイン
Spanish people.
朝起きて今スペインでこれを見てる人とかですね、ワシントン DC
And also Washington DC, they are also watching this Ustream.
前半のプレゼンテーションはイングリッシュでやりたいと思います。
The first part will be in English, so
ですね。FAB10 にご興味ある方はですね、これを良い機会と思ってですね。
yeah, it's going to be a really good chance if you're really interested in FAB10, what's going on.
勉強しようという気合を入れていただけたらいいなと思っております。
Please enjoy the presentation.
I'm going to talk in English, in English. So this is exactly 6 months ago. So I gave you a fab torch to you in Fab9, and so it's better to remember what's happening in Fab9. So actually, more than 250 people from more than 39 countries visited Fab9, and so Fab9 was truly a summer camp for FabLab members. And so 9 a.m. we gathered at 横浜開港記念会館 Yokohama Port Memorial Opening Port Memorial blah blah hall, and we had a morning session lab reviews. So each of FabLabs made up their short presentation in 5 minutes and share ideas and how to manage what kind of things they are making, and invited talks. So we have invited talks and lunch, and after that moved to YCC, Yokohama Creative City Center, Yokohama Souzou Toshi Center, and we have a workshop, various kind of workshop, management, technology, and idea generation, so hacking and so on. And this is management session, and moved to Super FabLab, and Super FabLab. We had 6 laser cutters, no? 4 laser cutters, lots of 3D printers and sewing machines, and a lot of digifab machines there, and using there. And we had FabLab World Cup competition. So the theme of last year is open resource instrument. So making use of those kind of wasted resources. So everybody has to come up with a new idea for an instrument, so musical instrument. And then, so this is very important for me. Hospitality 2.0. So hospitality is omotenashi in Japanese, but so far we have hospitality 1.0. So omotenashi means host served the Japanese food to foreigners, so as a super guest. But so hospitality 2.0 is kind of a reverse hospitality, so melting distinctions between host and guest. We call it hogest. I don't know, hogest, host and guest. So yes, melting the distinctions. Because we FabLab members are melting the severe distinctions between makers and users. So in that sense, so host and guest. So what I led, this was led by Mizuno Sensei there. So Mizuno Sensei, hi, food workshop was led by him. Actually, we taught how to cook Japanese food for foreigners, and they had to cook Japanese food for us, for Japanese. And they tried to make up okonomiyaki and sushi and udon. And this is made by, cooked by some crazy foreigners. So I don't know, westernized FabLab-minded roll sushi. And 10 p.m., so everybody spontaneously started to dance. And actually, I was so tired, but on the way, so I didn't go back to my hotel straightly. So they waiting for me. And hey, Hiro, we have been waiting for you a long time. Blah, blah, blah. And I was so captured. So I was captured. And 3 a.m. and until 4:30, so dawn came, and 4:30, so I was with Gohan, so I was crazy exhausted every day. But so I think he's a youngest participant, maybe 3 years old, 2 years old, 3 years old, and he's the oldest guy, probably. I'm not sure, but he's 74 years old or something like that. So that's Fab9. Really a creative summer camp we had. So next, so Thomas. So today we have a special speaker from FabLab Spain, Barcelona, Thomas Diez. So he's talking about what will be happening in Fab10. Thomas?
Okay. Thank you.
We need a connection. Okay. So, let me introduce him a little bit. So, Thomas is a manager of FabLab Barcelona. So, FabLab Barcelona is the first FabLab in EU countries, so in Europe, built in 2007. Yeah. Okay, so 7. Actually, the theme of Fab10 is from Fab Labs to FabCity. Actually, a couple of days ago, I got his PDF file for introducing Fab10. Amazing. Actually, I'm very so happy. So he is following some of our ideas. So, for example, Super FabLab and FabLab contest and so on. But more big event.
Thank you, Hiro. It's very nice to be here 6 months after Fab10. I will try to make me understand very clearly. Everybody understands English? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to make this conference 3 pieces. I will try to explain how trying to make clear in which moment we are today in terms of history and relationship with humans and technology, what we have done in FabLab Barcelona, and what we're going to do in Fab10. As Hiro said, I run the FabLab Barcelona since 2007. I'm now the director of it and at the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. And I'm an urbanist. I always studied about cities. And I studied 8 years in university about cities, and then during the last 8 years, I've been working in Fab Labs. And I got into this moment in my life, and I have put FabCity together, which is basically resumes the half of my life, actually, 50% of my life. So, but also I am Venezuelan. I'm from South America. I was born in South America, and where I spent the other half of my life. So that's very interesting. Yeah. So this moment in history is very interesting. It's when Europe discovered America. It was in the 15th century. And by that time, there was not knowledge about the existence of people at the end of the sea, let's say. And it's like similar as if today we find life in Mars. It's more or less the same conceptual framework in our minds. No? The discovering and the exchange of culture in the 15th century couldn't be possible if Gutenberg, but at the same time, wouldn't invent the press, the printing press. It was almost at the same time that with the discovery of America, and the invention of a printing press. Basically, the invention of a printing press accelerated the exchange of knowledge, right? And furthermore, the acceleration of innovation. And basically, this acceleration of exchange of knowledge really closed a moment of history in humanity, a very long, let's say, period of history that was the medieval age, and opened the Renaissance. The Renaissance actually was the born of a new, let's say, literacy and science in humanity, and a new level of development in arts and science, as I said before. But also, the Renaissance was the beginning of something else. That was the first industrial revolution. Thanks to that advances in technology and those advances on knowledge, humanity, or humans, could develop new technologies that started to replace the work of a human, or at least started to help the humans to live better. And this is what they call the first industrial revolution, representing two main cities in Manchester and Liverpool. And this is where we are talking again here between the 17th and 18th century, right? But this first industrial revolution, which started in the textile industry, moved forward and evolved until the beginning of the 20th century with the introduction of a production line. And Henry Ford basically translated the use of a machine into production, but actually to the repetition of processes in order to produce the same thing many times, right? This was also possible thanks to that there were two main events at the beginning of the 20th century that accelerated the advances on technology. If Henry Ford was producing more cars and in some point also more weapons, because the humanity was facing the First and Second World Wars. And basically all the advances in technologies were depending on the advances of the military industry. One of those examples is the invention of the computers. As you might know, Alan Turing, he was working for the British government to intercept communication between the Nazis. And thanks to that, he invented computation and algorithms. And that was the beginning of computers as we know them today. But that time, almost at the half of the 20th century, a computer would occupy like 60 square meters and would do almost nothing compared to what this does today, and we have it in our pocket, right? So there were many advances that were in the military industry that when the Second World War finished, they started to be part of the civil society. And that's the beginning of the industries and corporations as we know them today. 3M, or I don't know, imagine any other corporation in terms of DuPont, for instance, in terms of the materials creation, the polymers, were research companies that were working with the military industry, and then they become businesses, right? So there is another point in history, a few years later, that again, taking an initial invention for the military industry, the appropriation of computers, or taking the computers to a personal level, accelerated, again, the tools that people could have to produce knowledge. But more importantly, the invention of internet allowed that knowledge to be exchanged again. And that's similar to the Gutenberg printing press, right? And if you think about it, the internet invention was thanks, again, to a military reason. Thanks to the Cold War, the Americans wanted to develop a system in which the cities could be connected, even if you throw a bomb in Chicago. You could still talk with San Francisco from New York, thanks to a non-hierarchical network. That was the ARPANET, the beginnings of the internet. And actually last week, on March 12th, the World Wide Web turned 25, just recently, no? So again, more knowledge, more tools, people exchanging it, thanks to the computers, thanks also to the military industry. That's funny. And but still, we have a piece of that part that is more than 100 years old. Computers have been evolving. The internet has been evolving, and communications has been evolving. We have the ability of, we have acquired power of computation, and we have acquired powers of communication. But we haven't acquired yet, or we are still in the process of acquiring powers of production. The current production model is basically, to put it simple, is that you extract the raw materials in one side of the world, is shipped to the other end of the world, then turn it into final goods or end consumer goods. Then they are sent to the centers of consumptions. These things are consumed, turn it into trash, and not used in those places, and actually ship them to other places in the world. All this contains a lot of usage of fossil fuels for transportation, a huge amount that affects also our ecosystem. But more importantly, I think that the biggest consequence of this model is that the knowledge of fabricating, of production, is taken away from where things are being used. So we actually, we gave away a lot of our knowledge that we had before, and we lost it. And basically the world is becoming, almost like a standardized place. And we are wearing things that are owned by few brands, right? Out of this model, the only thing that you produce, if you think every day, whatever you produce, think about it, is trash. Physically, you produce trash. Everything that you use, you turn it into the atoms you produce in your everyday life, in our everyday life. It's actually trash that is wasted, and most of the times not used. So what happens if in this model of personal computation that is evolving, that we are acquiring high powers today, actually making it more embeddable in our bodies? I think that in the near future we will embed a computer in our brains that will be powered through internet. So you would be able to send an image that you're seeing with your eyes by a thought. But still, but what happens, if you put in this formula a distributed production? What happens into those superpowers of computation and communication? You also have superpowers of making whatever you want. No? This is called a DIDO model, which stands from data in and data out, and basically is, what if we empower the cities to hold the infrastructure to manufacture locally anything, and whatever is being exchanged into the many countries and cities in the world is just the information about making anything, or the data about objects, and then you produce it locally. So what we're talking about is going back to a knowledge exchange network, basically, right? So we are again in a very critical moment. As I said, the Gutenberg printing press and probably the internet and the computer gave us superpowers in some point in history, and then it produced very strong consequences. Some people are saying that 3D printers can be compared to that. We are now in the fever of 3D printers, and then seem to be the next big thing, right? As you know, 3D printers, they call 3D printers because around 1985, some researchers at MIT put together print heads in a machines and take out the ink and put some glue and deposited material into another material, and then we're building layer by layer three-dimensional structures. That's why 3D printing is called 3D printing. And some people stand that basically the biggest marketing campaign of 3D printing is that you will be able to make things in your home. So as you print paper in your house, you will be able to print objects. How many of you have a paper printer at home? Do you have? A lot, still. Okay. No, usually, depending on where you go, you have 20% of the people in the audience. Now we have like 70%. It's another rate. And as you print paper, you can print objects. No? This is the main marketing about 3D printers. You in your home sitting, producing things. Okay. These are the different technologies. As I said, this is 1985. Almost as old as the internet is 3D printing. And this is other processes that are, let's say, the heritage of 3D printing is additive manufacturing. And one of the most famous ones is this. Fuse deposition modeling is what you see in every other Ultimaker, MakerBot, RepRap machine. It's just a printhead, an extruder, melting plastic, and building three-dimensional layers. And that is what people say is going to change the world and save the world. You can use different materials. You can play between the physical and the digital world in a very easy way. But I think that what is more important is this moment in history. It was around the year 2004, and it's when 3D printing stopped being owned by big corporations and turned it into an open source project that was called the RepRap. This was a very disruptive moment, and we have to thank Big Oliver and Adrian Boyer to raise the prices down maybe 30 times to what Stratasys was selling 3D printers with FDM technologies. The RepRap project basically published the plans and the materials that you needed to build your own 3D printer for less than 700 euros. MakerBot, a 400 million worth company today, built a business model out of this, basically. It was the clever guys, the Americans. So, as I said, it's not about the process, it's about you own the knowledge of making your own tool. That's more interesting than just buying a machine. It's not like an espresso machine that you press the button and you fabricate something. It's like owning the knowledge of making even your own machine and modify it. No? That is more important. So, but still, as you have seen, all of those machines, they fit in this desktop, right? They are as small as to put it everywhere. Maybe you can print, people is printing bigger things, but still, I like very much this quote around 3D printing, and that Neil Gershenfeld says that the fever around 3D printers could be compared as with microwave in the 50s. They are convenient, but they cannot replace the entire kitchen. What is that kitchen? A FabLab. So imagine, if one machine that extrudes plastic in with very basic technology, very stupid technology, what it could happen with other maybe 8 machines and connected to these people in an open and collaborative way. No? These are some of the things that you cannot do with a 3D printer. You cannot make a FabLab house. You cannot make a skateboard out of bamboo or wood. You cannot make a stereo. You cannot make a circuit board, right? And basically, it's about those places. These FabLabs is about the knowledge in the community, and knowledge accessible to anyone, as you might know. No? So I guess that you're familiar with all the FabLabs. I guess that you're familiar that this is an international network that is connected through a video conferencing system that allows to share in real-time knowledge. And Wednesday, there is a class on the Fab Academy in which people is connecting from Japan at 11 in the night, in Barcelona at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and in Boston at 9 a.m. At the same time, 140 people from 20 different places in the world having a class, right? Again, it's a network present in more than 50 countries, and we count today 270-something Fab Labs. And some people stand that this is basically the beginning of a third industrial revolution. If the textile, steam power machine, and the 18th century was the first industrial revolution, and then the production line introduced by Henry Ford at the beginning of the 20th century is the second industrial revolution, then the distributed manufacturing and open manufacturing in Fab Labs could be called the third industrial revolution. But the economists, they stand a lot for 3D printing, but we know there is much more than that. So I'm going to quickly talk about FabLab Barcelona and what we do and where we come from very quickly. So as Hiro said, we are open since 2007. This is the first workshop we organized with Neil Gershenfeld and some kids from Barcelona where they were making their own toys. And they were tracing their faces to do graffitis. I organized that workshop. This is the organizational meeting of the Fab Academy in FabLab Barcelona. We started it in 2008 with the CBA as well. We operate like a kind of role of coordination in the FabLab network together with people like Hiro and people like Beno in Peru. It's a coordination of coordinators of trying to keep these crazy people some kind of aligned together, and with Sherry Lassiter basically showing the model. We are located in Barcelona. This is the city center. It's like 10 minutes from the old city. It's inside a warehouse, like an old warehouse, an old building. Some people say that in this building, during the Civil War, it was used to produce bombs. I think it's a myth. We have done a few projects that I would like to share with you. This is the FabLab house we did in 2010. It's an entire house that could be produced in any FabLab in the world. The plans are in our wiki, so you can download the plans and make your own if you want to access to your FabLab. We did it for a competition that is called the Solar Decathlon. We lost the competition. We were the last ones, but we won the People's Choice Award because many people was spending time in the house, and then we were making parties, and then we were losing points for making parties, but then people gave us their vote in the People's Choice Award. And this is an entire house that has a little Fab Lab inside the house. We had an embroidery machine that we were making our own T-shirts, our own hats. And the idea is like they didn't let us, but we wanted to put a machine here in the bottom of the house, and then we wanted to produce another house. So the idea is that the house could have babies eventually, but the organization of the competition didn't allow us to do it. This is another solar house we did for Endesa a couple years ago, and it's a house that produces its own energy. It could serve as a charger of an electric car or a bicycle, and it's a demonstrator of a smart city project in Barcelona. We've done different types of projects of making like a huge models, interactive models, showing the story of the city and showing how the historical city has grown during the time. We do workshops with kids. Now we are having a series of huge animals in which we design and manufacture in a big scale out of different materials, animals like elephants or dinosaurs, and then the kids gather together to assemble it. This is a project I like very much. It's a skateboard made out of bamboo in a Fab Lab and that you can make in a couple hours. So you can design your own skateboard and make it in a couple hours, actually. This is becoming like an open source project as well, and we will do workshops of it in Barcelona. I'm going to show a couple projects like are very interesting for us. One is the open source beehives. As you know, the bees are being collapsed, being affected by pesticides and contamination, and they are disappearing, at least in Europe and parts of America. If the bees disappear, we lose 30% of the food we eat, and basically it kills all the pollination between plants, which is basic for the sustain of human life. So what we're doing is designing a hive that you can download and fabricate in any Fab Lab in the world. And we are now developing a system of sensors that will help to understand how the bees behave inside the beehive, but also to understand which are the pollutants that are affecting the bee colonies. And we are now doing a crowdfunding campaign in Indiegogo to raise money. We have 26 days left to raise $20,000 to make this possible. We have the Smart Citizen project that I started with some colleagues a couple years ago. Again, a project that was also crowdfunded 2 times, and that won the Smart City Expo Innovation Award in November last year. And basically, again, we went to Kickstarter. We raised $68,000 in 30 days to build an ecosystem of an online platform, a hardware kit, and a mobile application to provide tools for citizens to capture data about the pollution in the cities. Again, no? So it's empowering. It's a tool for empowering people. This is the kit that has the different sensors about temperature, humidity, light, CO and NO2, which are pollutants related to the combustion of fossil fuels or the noise in the cities. No? That is very important for cities like Barcelona. Some people was wearing it in the Internet of Things World Forum organized by Cisco in Barcelona. Last year we did a deployment for them. And now it's becoming a big network of people that is actually putting data in an open data for other people to use it to build knowledge around it. Right? This is a very, very early stage of a project, and we're working with this probably with Intel and other companies in Europe. And basically, it's the idea of each house in the city could be a source of information that could be useful for the city. So it's using your network infrastructure in your house. It connects to your Wi-Fi, and it uploads the information about the street. So you put it in your balcony, and then it gathers the information, uses your Wi-Fi connection, and puts the information online. This is another project that is the Green Fab Lab. It's for us the next generation of Fab Labs. It's located in a big, big park in the center of the metropolitan area of Barcelona. And it's intended to be a self-sufficiency research center in which we have a food lab, an energy lab, and a green fab lab, which are our 3 main, let's say, topics of research in terms of self-sufficiency. If you think what you need to sustain human life, you need food, because you need to eat to keep you alive. You need energy to heat and to light your spaces. And you need tools to interface with the environment. So those 3 are the Green Lab, Food Lab, and Energy Lab, which are part of this project. This is always looking for the relationship also between technology and nature in a different level, in which it's not only about just taking the trunks and making structures, as I showed, but actually to think about how a 6-axis robot can interface with natural materials and produce, new inventions. FabCity project, I'm going to explain a little bit about it. It's basically the idea of not only having a lot of Fab Labs in a city, but actually have a complete ecosystem on how to reactivate the productivity in a city scale. It means about places like Fab Labs to accelerate the citizen-based innovation, but at the same time, how we can make this to affect local industries, how to affect the research in the cities, and so on. No? So we think that this will be a key project for the future of Barcelona. These are some of the Fab Labs that is already opening by the city government of Barcelona, and some people making 30 3D printers in one day, the FabLab Barcelona printers. And of course FAB10, which with that I'm going to explain very quickly, and I will promise we'll finish.
So you can use your time.
I'm on time?
As you want.
No. So, as you know, as Kiro said, we are very pleased and we are very honored that last year we received the torch, the Fab torch, to organize the FAB10 conference. We wanted to organize the 10 Fab conference because we think that it's a moment to close a cycle within the network of Fab Labs, that during these last 10 years we have been struggling to survive and to be alive. It was mainly, the creation of spaces, finding the people, and also mastering the technology. I think we did it. And now is a moment to think about next steps. No? So we think that 10 years of Fab Labs are, this cycle is being closed, and we are opening the next 90 years of Fab Cities. No? This is basically, it's going to take place in Barcelona between the 2nd and the 8th of July this year. And as I said before, imagine, this is, again, there are things that are somehow repeated, but all these fibers around 3D printers that are being sold even in, I don't know if in Japan, but if you go to like, in Spain, there are stores like Media Market, in which you buy like any computer appliances. You can buy computers and stuff. Now you can buy MakerBots from it. So it's becoming massive. It's becoming a massive good, let's say, the acquisition of 3D printers. And as I said before, it has been referenced in many books and in many magazines that is the next big technology. And this is connected to what I said before. Imagine if that's one machine, what could happen with machines, spaces like this, people, let's say, not the people in the room, but actually the people in the world, 270 other places that are sharing the same means for production, connected in real time, as I explained before. This is a single day in Fab Academy. And doing projects, again, this is kind of repeated, but you kind of understand the idea. You cannot make a boat with a 3D printer. And you can, and the idea of sharing the knowledge about making that boat is what makes exciting the Fab Labs. This is a network of people, not about machines. It's not a network of machines that has been gathering in the last 9 years in different cities. Boston, Fab 1, maybe they were like 4 people. And Lingen in Fab 2, they were like maybe 10 people. And Fab 3 in South Africa, maybe they were 40 people.
Yes, were you there?
No. The first one I was is in Pune, Fab 4.
No, home is in...
Fab 3, Pretoria.
No, 3 Pretoria, 4 in...
In Chicago, you're right. Sorry. You're right. Chicago, Fab 4. It was the first time I was.
Oh, okay.
Fab 5 in Pune was the first time you was. Fab 6 in Amsterdam. Fab 7 in Lima with Beno and the crazy guys from Peru. That we support them to open the Fab Lab. And Walter, who doesn't remember Walter? You remember Walter, no? Hello, Walter. Then Fab 8 in Wellington, New Zealand. And Fab 9, of course, in Yokohama, no? So this is the magic moment, as we said before, during the Fab Symposium last year in Yokohama. And we think that the last 3 meetings have been in Peru, in New Zealand, and in Yokohama. If you think about this, thousands of miles away from where around 60% of the Fab Labs are located. In the last meeting in Yokohama, there were 250 people. We are expecting to have maybe 500. So, Fab 10. Who is attending? As I said, we're expecting at least 500 people from more than 250 Fab Labs. But we're also going to open the conference during a weekend for the entire city. We expect the Barcelona people to meet us, to meet this community, and this community to meet normal people, let's say. And then we are going to close with a big event with the presence of mayors of different cities of Barcelona. Where we are organizing it, in different, from Fab Labs to Fab City, so basically we're taking the city in different places of the city of Barcelona, where there are already, if you count, at least 5 Fab Labs will be operating by July, all synchronized with this idea of a Fab City. But we're still going to have a main venue. We're going to have like a headquarters of a Fab conference, which is going to be in Fira de Barcelona. This is Plaza España, from those that you have been in Barcelona ever. And the space we're going to be is this one. Just around here. If you see an aerial, is actually all of this. This is a bus. So you can feed maybe, I don't know, 300, 500 buses. And that's the space inside. This is 7,000 square meters in which we will have a super Fab Lab, a workshop area, conference area, exhibition area, and lounge area at the end, at the entrance. But also, as I said before, we're going to occupy the city and the different spaces which are happening things around digital fabrication. And we're going to have social events here. So the parties, you stay tuned because the parties are going to happen in these places. When it's going to happen? Between the 2nd and the 8th of July. And FAB10 is an event of events, or an event of things that is going to happen, no? The Fab Festival during the weekend, the Fab Symposium, the Global Fab Awards and Exhibition, the Made in Barcelona Awards and Exhibition, the Fab House. We're going to make another Fab House, and the Fab Kids. I'm going to explain to you in detail each one of them. The Global Fab Awards and Exhibition, we are hoping to bring projects that have been growing during the last 10 years in the FabLab network and make them visible to the world. This is going to be hopefully organized together with the World Bank. And as you can see, there are, these ones? Okay. So we hope that we hope that you submit your project. It will be easy to bring them, I think. Alex from Amsterdam is going to drive a truck, a mobile Fab Lab from Amsterdam. And he said he's going to bring the football table and the bus, and he's going to make a concert and a championship of football. It also is at the same time as the World Cup. But there is actually to call different projects from the entire network and make it visible to the world. The Fab House, this is some ideas around it. This is the next version. Huh? It looks like Japanese, no? Like
small tea house, like tea house.
Tea house.
Summer house.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be built during the week by the network of Fab Labs. The Fab Kids, we're going to have 150 kids running around during the entire week. They will drive us crazy, I know. So try not to kill a kid, please. And they will be making drones, 3D printing, skates, and crazy inventions during the whole week. The FabCity Symposium, we expect to have 1,500 people. We invited 30 mayors of the world. And, this is images from last year here in Yokohama. We have nearly 1,000 people attending. And we'll be experts of digital fabrication, also policymakers, and so on. And we hope some of these mayors to come. These have been invited by the mayor of Barcelona officially to come to FAB10. Okay, Yokohama is there. The Made in Barcelona contest is a contest organized by the City Council of Barcelona for projects around the Internet of Things, energy, and recycling in the city, which is going to be followed by an exhibition. Basically, there are projects like, as I said before, the RepRap 3D printer, RepRap Barcelona 3D printer is one of those projects that had been nurtured and born in Barcelona, and they're going to be part of this big exhibition, right? And then the Fab Festival weekend, we're hoping to have 10,000 people. And actually, this is a picture of a marathon. But it's to excite people, no? To have an image of what happens if we fill all this place with crazy people coming to do workshops and get to meet all of you if you come to Barcelona. So we're launching the FabCity project in FAB10. Basically, for us, it's not an event. It's actually the beginning of a project. So it's a challenge for us. The biggest challenge is not the event itself. It's the 9th of July. The FAB10 finishes the 8th of July, and the 9th of July is the beginning of FabCity. And that's where, things come to my mind. And this is 2011 in FAB7 in Lima, the deputy mayor of Barcelona saying that we have an idea of developing some Fab Labs in different districts of Barcelona. And that's happening now, as I showed before. No? So we basically want to bring back productivity into the cities through the use of new technologies, of digital technologies and digital fabrication, right? But we want to do it with a very social basis. It's not about putting technology and being administrated by a few. It's actually providing the tools and the means for people to invent, to develop invention in a city scale basis, right? And this should be done together not only by the city, not only by the civic society, but also should be done with companies, with research centers, and so on. The principles of FabCity, we think that the potentials of digital fabrication will touch every aspect of our lives. Kids are going to learn how to program and how to model in 3D and how to manufacture using a laser cutter as we learn how to start to use a computer, if you remember. When I started school, we didn't start with computers, but basically a few years after you started to use the computers and so on. No? So this new access of open source technologies and learning to program and having all these means of learning through the internet will basically will make a big update in the education of the kids. The recycling principles are very important. We need to do something with all that waste that we produce. And the big challenge is to take our raw materials should be out of the waste. If we have more and more Fab Labs that they are using acrylic and plywood and ABS, we are screwed. So we need to think about the next level of materials and the usage of trash. The industry is going to change. How industry research, how industry takes out products, and so on, how industry is going to use materials. So this should be something that we should think together with them. Research, how we can take out research from universities and in closed laboratories, and research could be part of a everyday activity that you do in your life, and you put that research for the good of everyone. And then the public policy, how the big players and the governments can be part of this as enablers and not as controllers. That's a big challenge as well. How the city council can be a player of providing the city as a platform and not trying to generate control mechanisms out of this. This is what we want to push really hard for the launching of FabCity. And as I say, this is much more than spaces that are already being built. It's actually changing a model of cities from PITO to DIDO. PITO stands product in, trash out. How we stand from a model of cities that import products and produce trash to a model of data in, data out. Means all the cycle of the matter happens inside the city, and whatever comes in and out is just exchange of knowledge. As I said, we are counting with these three main aspects. This is our three main areas into FAB10 and FAB cities. And this is some of the people that we are collaborating with to make it happen. So this is some of them are 100% confirmed. Most of them actually are confirmed partners or sponsors. And we have a couple of them that we're still trying to close the details, but as I said before, without the big industry, this is not possible. And that's it. If you want to stay tuned, we just released a new website, new Designly website. This is our main email, and this is our Twitter account to stay updated. Thank you.
Very much. Okay, thank you very much. Let me use a little bit in Japanese, okay? ほとんどビジュアル多かったと思うんですけど、最後のなんていうか P 棟から D 棟だけちょっと復習のために説明しておきますと、 P 棟っていうのはこれまでのつまり、設計デザインだけをその国でやって、製造は外国のアウトソーシングしてで出来上がったものをまた輸入してその国で使うんだけども、結局使われなくなってその大量のその破棄物が出てしまうと。でそれはその消費している国にどんどん溜まっていて残ってしまうというモデルであると。で、D 棟でその弱点が
if we do more consumption and we have more trash in the
製造に関する知識っていうのは全部外注している外国のどっかのなんとか工場の中に溜まっていってしまう。いうことや、
all those trash are piling up in the country who has more consumption and we just throw away all the things.
データインデータアウトなんですけども、基本的に自分たちで作る知識を獲得して、でその国で作って、で物を買ってまたそれを循環させるんだけども、 そこで、デジタル技術を使うので、デジタルデータというものが必ず、生まれました。でそれを、もしくは外の、国とか地域とかと、
And by Dido, we can solve those problems with the digital technology and use those trash and recycle and make something new.
Next speaker is Yuka-san. Yuka-san is the manager of FabLab Kamakura. And I saw a lot of affinities and similar interests. So between you and Thomas and I, of course. So Yuka-san is running Fab Town project and Green FabLab project working with Mount Fuji or so something like that. So Yuka-san.
Good evening, everyone.
How many people are watching? You stream? Figures. So how many people are?
How many of you stream watchers now?
Two.
2 people.
But okay, this program is recorded. So recorded and they will upload it onto the YouTube. So after this,
I will try to do that in English or something happened. Okay, thank you for Thomas. And I see some so many similarity like FabCity and Green FabLab, but I'm going to talk about the FabLab Kamakura, the activity. And 2011, Hiro decided first FabLab East Asia, and we talk about where is the best place in Japan. It's not center city, just like maybe it's like close to city and related more Japanese culture. And the Kamakura is kind of one of the best place for setup. And also, FabLab Tsukuba is like we set up FabLab together. Then now, 2014, 7 FabLab in Japan. Maybe this year more. Then FabLab Kamakura, Tsukuba, Shibuya, and Sendai, and Kitakagaya, and Kanai here. And the 2011, I expect like maybe Kamakura is not the place for just like big people come in and just like making. We do focus on more learning system, people how to step up the. Fab Cafe is like a cafe and a laser cutter. You can order cafe and also laser cutter as well. And maker space, it's so many maker space coming up in Japan. But the important thing is we not having the system learning model from the casual fab and also the maker space. So, okay, I need to focus on learning model and also the local and global. Okay, the first Fab Labs are global network of local Fab Lab, invented by providing access to tools for data fabrication. That means like the last sentence is very important. It's not just like printing. The FabLab Kamakura is 125 years old. Used to be sake warehouse. It's we renovated. No, the owner renovated the place, and 18 meter, but divided by 3. We just using the first room, and Hiro live in third room. So physically, he live in FabLab. FabLab, yeah. The that area is not like the meditation area, so we can't make a noise. So I collect not noisy one, especially not wood, like CNC machine, just like a cute one. Okay, so we have 3 roles. The first one is community lab, and second one is research lab, and the third one is incubation lab. But we can do these things, activity at the same time. So I just focus on making a community first year, and second year, starting research. Now I'm starting on incubation. So what kind of people coming to FabLab Kamakura is we do open lab at Monday morning, 9 a.m. and people come in FabLab and for cleaning up. Get together. So the people working the company they can't come at the time. So active maybe 70 or 60 elder people come in, stop by, and housewife, and also freelance designer. The people don't know like what kind of stuff we have to do. So just like keep coming. Then people, that behavior is change. So the person who gotta teach is just being teacher to next person. Then we give them the like tiny batch. Then you are the teacher. Then second one, at the last, we don't have to do anything. They can do that. Then the first person just stop by to lab. Then the person who already know how to use the machine teaching them. So that is what we want. And Japan is facing on the aging society. It's getting more big problem, but we are training them for super aging person. So the one of the guys started model of FabLab Kamakura and start printing. And also like Kamakura is there are so many old temple, so he's starting to modeling stuff. So, and also we have a fabrication training program on the weekend, and so many people come in and taking this lesson. And also I do focus on fab learning for kids, and also I take in data. So, Japan is like a kind of weird, like only one race. I mean, only Japanese people. It's not so many foreigners coming up, but and also age is same generation. It's divided by same company or same like specialty. But see, 70 people, and also youngest is 2.5 learnings at the same time. And also like the Buddha is like one person is coming. So we can see the same people coming. And also new people coming up. So it's always like people coming here, and same people, same things. It's not interesting. So people stop by, can stop by anytime, and they can learn it. They don't know each other, but they can learn. They can make something together. Then FabLab Kamakura is not that big, but Kamakura area is quite very attractive. More than 1 billion people coming to Kamakura for sightseeing. There are only 200,000 people living there. So that means like we can do something, and maybe like a weekend fab camp or something like that. And also there are so many cute cafe and also farmers market. We have ocean and nature. So like it's not city, but town is maybe there are so many like 270 people towns around Japan. So it's kind of interesting model for fab town. Then also we can come here like a fab Yokohama is 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So FAB10 is not that talking about the local area. It's like a learning model. People learning basic skill and training program. And what is their motivation? And also, what is a community project? Then they learn how to use the machine, how to create, how to teach the project. Or then they can collaborate some company or they can make product. And also it can be create their own life, also service design, and also action design at the same time. The one of the example, I'm going to show two examples. It's like a wood craftsman learning how to use a laser cutter. She created this clock and also, Etsy. The Ichi is Etsy, the Japanese version. And the important is how to sell the product. So FabLab is like a prototype space. It's not the making 100 or 1,000 making product. It's not the place. And also how to use the machine. And also Kruska is the one. He's the very interesting guy. Okay, that's him. He doesn't know how to use a laser cutter, of course, and how to make data. But he wants to use a laser cutter so much, and he learned. And his motivation is to making the system for people can making stuff so easily. It's not just product. So he had a workshop at the FabLab. He got a kind of confidence, and that's nice. And so I got an idea, and he created stuff. And Jens came to FabLab, so I don't have to explain about this story, but it's very interesting because data in and data out is kind of, it's like you can see the FabLab is a global network, not local lab, but not just local lab. So we share the data, and also they don't have enough electricity, but they can use laser cutter. Then change the design. Put some their own design. And they started their own material. That is a Victoria Lake. It's one of the biggest lake on the world. And it's a Nile perch. It's a fish skin. better smell than cow, I think. See? Then, the Obama's grandma. Then the next story, after the Jens movie, he started to travel around Japan. After the data is sharing the data, he started. Then, like this. And he had a workshop at the FabLab Sendai and at the place all over Japan. The next step, he's going Europe. That is interesting. That's what I want to see. Is not just talking about the machine. His behavior is it's very big change. Yes. The next story is like we can create a new material world. It's not, I call it Fujimoku Fest. It's collaboration with the forest lab at Mountain Fuji and Kamakura, and the government helped us our activity first year. So 120 people come in. But the local people at the Shizuoka area, they don't care about the cut the tree stuff. They have no idea to pay doing that kind of stuff. But who live in the city people, it's kind of like I need nature or something, like especially system engineer. Yes. So I realized, maybe it's nice to collaborate in other places, not too close. Very, very different. So the people cut the tree and making data and how they set up the laser cutter and making stuff. That is nice for experience the first year, but it's okay to me, but I want to do the same thing next year. I don't want to do that. So I did crowdfunding, and because the government didn't help us, just like, okay. But it's nonsense doing like for nature stuff on like finish in 1 year. It's not good. So the second year, I successed the crowdfunding. Then we created, we cut a tree, and how to call the seizai? Slicing. It's unusual, you know. Yeah. Usually, we have to dry the tree, but we slice at the same time. It's working. Because we don't have to build up the house. Yeah. Just like making cutting board is enough. Oh, that's nice. Then also the people, the participants, and learning how to use the digital fabrication stuff. Then also how to, usually the wood is like making crack during the drying up time. So the one guy, the one person researching how to dry up, taking data every single day. Then he just like found how to bending without sanding. That's nice. And also he's a guy, he's a programmer, and he like making salad bowl using processing. Then so Mio making wood beacon, putting sensor inside a box. Wow. And one super nice guy making a product, and we made a wood textile. I want to make a kimono, and Tamaki-san can teach me like how to wear a kimono, being lady. And also it's wood filament. I'm trying now, working on, but like I have to make a powder under 200, like super small one. But 200 micron. Micron. So maybe in this month I'm gonna get the prototype. Would be nice. And also the green power book. I want to make energy as well. So it'd be nice to using solar power system and making something by 3D printer with solar power energy. I'm gonna do that at elementary the after school program. Oh, wow. And you know these smart citizen project. What am I interested in is like a sensoring system, because I went to the Yamaguchi Center for Art Medias. It's like Ryuichi Sakamoto doing the project called the Forest Symphony. He put in Arduino on a tree. Actually, he put the needle, taking data from the tree and making a symphony. So maybe next year, I want to say this kind of things. So the project is still working on. So I'm very interested in seeing Green FabLab in Barcelona, and also sharing the idea and knowledge, that kind of stuff. So thank you for hearing me, taking your time.
Okay, thank you, Yuka. And okay, the last speaker is myself. So yes, make up a little bit presentation. Let's start. I'm going to talk about a little bit about FabCity Yokohama and the Green FabLab and research project. And so actually, we are still using that building as a social fabrication center of our university. So, but our biggest change was this shopbot. Actually, until Fab9, we hadn't have a shopbot in Japan, but we got shopbot, yay! And actually, yes, one of my students, is he here? Koki? No? Why? So he's the first shopbot gurus in Japan. And we started to make this kind of wall system, fab space, working with Okamura Seisakujo, Ihara-kun there. Oh, so he's a guy from Okamura Seisakujo. So we made a wall system, desk system, and meditation place, and so on. And then meeting mode here. And about chair, I requested all of my students to make up their own chair. So this guy made a kind of animal-like chair. This guy stacking chair. This girl, this girl stacking chair. This girl chair. This girl cute chair. Apple, and this girl chair. This guy a photographer. So they made up the chair. He can exhibit his photos. So, and this guy photo, and this guy is a musician. So he's a guitarist. So he created a horizontal rock and roll chair, right? So he can make a music with this chair, and then this chair is like metronome. Metronome like, and he is a kid. So, and the next I gave them an assignment on fabricating something for kids to use in outside. So fabricate X for the city, and those are 5 projects. Kickball, ice cream making machine, and drawing elephant machine. There is Zono Hana Park in Yokohama. So they got inspirations from Zono Hana Park in Yokohama, and so you can download this design. But seeing what's happening? Yeah, this is a movie. So this toy was inspired from Zono Hana Park and apply for those Zono Hana Park. So this kind of local site-oriented design has emerged. This is drawing machine. Very cute, kind of urban furniture and a fabricating kit. So first, set up the drawing paper here. And set up a pen, some of pen, colorful pen set. And just how can I say? Carrying on, carrying on. So this machine generates kind of generative design in very analog way. So, yeah, this is one of the examples, and this is very interesting. So yes, pillow carry. This works as a kind of sewing machine. So suitcase like sewing machine. Making something which changes people of the world. So they went to Nogeyama Park. Actually, I've never been there, but Nogeyama Park. So just set the felt. Insert cotton inside. And put on the upper lid. And put your bag and just, okay. So this works as a kind of sewing machine. Needle is going up and down, and using kind of sutures. So after climbing up the suture, they got finished creating a kind of pillow. Pillow, what was created, kind of thing. Local specific pillow. Yes, made in Nogeyama. Yeah. So this is our student life, and. So yeah, this kind of thing happened. And of course, so as Yuka-san told, yes, my house is this one, so FabLab Kamakura. And I realized that so this kind of Japanese architecture is very digital, so discrete. So so actually there are a lot of wood joinery technologies. One of the students analyzed all the different kind of wood joinery patterns and make the model of the 3D and upload onto Thingiverse. So you can download all the Japanese wood joinery shape and so I use it. And Koki, no here, not here, but he's now designing the kind of new types of Japanese wood joinery system and apply it to new building of FabLab Hiroshima. And actually, we have Ohara. So he is a leader of FabCity book project. And actually, yes, Mizo Sensei and I have been working for making this kind of book, guidebook for the realization of Yokohama FabCity 2020. Actually, this year, 2020, we will have Olympic game in Tokyo. So that's why. So that's the next target of us. And we created a city map. So where to get resources, where to get parts, where to get ES materials, and where we can fabricate it, and where is the shops and the stores and galleries. And as a research activity, yeah, actually I'm really agree to your vision. Idea is, yes, kind of global on the internet, but it's better to use local resources, local yes, materials. So actually we decided to create food 3D printer. So this is the first generation of our food, so 3D yes, printers. Using, yes, in Japan, we have a lot of yes, white rice, a lot of white rice. So this is a new usages of the white rice. And of course, we created the software so we can 3D print kind of strange space-ship food or something like that. But more than that, actually one of my students created this kind of thing. It's edible dish and edible spoon, fork, and toys. So you can eat the dish at the end of your dinner. So and then no garbages, no trash, very ecological. So and all of us know. So this month is 3 years from the severe earthquake in Japan. So March 11th. But I remember a couple of months later, March 11th, one of my friends in Switzerland sent me an email, and he said, "Oh, do you need yes microscope?" And I yes replied yes, and then sent me a laser cutter file for me, and I fabricated it on site in FabLab Kamakura, and we got this kind of microscope. So this is digital remote kind of transportation. We didn't use any physical logistics. So actually this year I appointed as one of Japanese government lawmaking member. So I suggested them to this one. So we use what ICT, so information communication technology, 情報通信技術 so far. But next of the internet is FICT, so fabrication, information communication technology, 情報通信物質化技術. So this is the next vision of the internet policy in Japan. So I'm interested in your project, Smart Citizen Starter Kit, but a slightly different interest from Yuka-san, because I was in Hyderabad a couple of weeks ago and Seoul last week, and I have been visiting as many FabLabs as yes, possible in Asian countries. But I found most of Asian countries have very severe environmental issue, PM 2.5, PM 2.5. So Shohei, he's now on the way, so coming here, Shohei. Yeah, he's visiting a researcher of my laboratories. He's now making a new sensor for detecting the PM 2.5. So, PM 2.5 をディテクトするスマートシティセンサーキットを作っています。So I'm a little bit artist. I got an inspirations from this kind of Ashura Buddha in Japan, so in Kamakura. So students and I created this kind of robot Ashura for digital knitting and weaving and cutting and everything. So this is artistic side of me. So, and Tsuneo Masuda is he. So he's very talented senior engineer. So he's now developing a Yokohama-based original 3D printers. Yes, working with IDEC. IDEC はなんだっけ？横浜産業技術センターの横浜なんだっけ？産業インダストリアル what？ 中小企業振興センター。Why 中小企業 D? Yeah, I don't know, but industry empowerment, blah blah blah. I don't know, but IDEC. So he's going to exhibit his recent inventions of the Yokohama-based 3D printer on なんだっけ3月27日だよね March 27th in IDEC. So that's what I have been doing since FAB9. So I think FAB is very interdisciplinary region. ICT, digital manufacturing, personal expression, solving social issues. So I'm very looking forward to going to Barcelona and share our ideas. Thank you very much. So come back. Maybe Emi-san. So this is the end of first session. エミさんとトーマス一緒に座ってた方がやりやすいので、ちょっとユカさんとトーマスと場所変わってもらえますか。今日のイベントこれ一応時間を何時までというふうに告知されていたので、9時までまだじゃあ50分もあります。ではSo ユカさん come here. So エミさん How can I organize? Speak to the audience in the one. Good. Okay. So じゃあ残り50分ぐらいディスカッションの時間がございますが、まあたくさん関係者もいますし、かなりカジュアルな感じでやっていこうと。
Yeah, because we have some many audience, so we would like to start now.
まずなんかユカさんからトーマスに聞きたいことはありますか？
Yeah, do you have any question to Thomas, Yuka-san?
Are you making some like material at the Green FabLab?
Like a yes or no? No, I showed, I skipped one picture, I don't know why, but the Green FabLab as a project has been around for a long time. It is located in a historical place that during the last 2 years we have been renovated. Last month we put the first machines in the Green FabLab.
Okay.
Last month, finally, the first machine. Not the first, actually we had like a carpentry, like a more like a wood workshop. For some months, that was actually in the wood workshop. It was being used to refurbish the house, a more traditional wood workshop. And just last month, we put up a laser cutter, a couple 3D printers, circuit making machines, and a vinyl cutter. In 2 weeks ago, we did the first workshop with Sony CSL from Paris. The question is, if we're doing new materials, not yet. But we have been doing a very interesting, let's say, practice, which is all the flooring of the house, all the renovation, all the new doors, anything that is being done in the house, all the materials that are being used are sourced locally. All the bricks that are used to reconstruct walls are actually recovered from the old construction. So all the matter of the house has been staying there in I don't know, it's 100-hectare space, but it will stay, it has been there. The long-term vision is, as I think that not only natural materials and new materials are the source materials, but actually we are hoping to develop, I dream about this machine that you throw trash and it gives you raw materials. And that's a big challenge that we have in front in the Green FabLab. So those kind of projects are the ones that we want to do. So yeah.
One of the at the office, one of the lady invented the wood seat for laser cut. Like
The foamy.
wood, like the size is very. If I want to use wood for using laser cut, but the size is important.
Yeah.
You have to cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we don't know where the wood from, like at the home center. We can't guess.
Okay.
This is from Japan or it's like from we don't know. So,
America, from China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so one of the lady invented the one sheet of wood. How can I say? Thick, like 5 millimeters.
5 millimeter thick.
The idea is like a simple,
Yeah.
but the process of creation is very inventive. So maybe we can share the idea, and it's kind of like important to making material. The
Make your
knowledge.
own materials. Yes. Yeah.
So my next like aim or something like that.
I hope that you, when you come to FAB10,
Yeah.
you will exchange some ideas in
Yes,
the
yes.
Green FabLab. We'll have some sessions there.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
To organize a session maybe on new materials
Yes,
in
that's
FAB10.
nice.
And maybe just
日本語で喋ってもいいんだよね、これ。そうしけん、調整バーチャル。トーマスね。トーマス日本は、20世紀後半はすごい大量生産ですごい成長しました。
Yeah, actually, the 20th century is grown up with the mass production.
yeah.
A lot of famous companies, Sony, Toshiba, Ricoh, Fujitsu, blah, blah, blah. ね、で、中国に工場を作り始めました。
We started to make a factory in China. Yeah.
So, as you said, トーマスの言う通り、製造技術は全部中国の人たちがどんどん握っていて
Yeah, all the production process is in China,
作ってしまいました。
and we forgot how to make it.
アップルが国内で工場を作り始めました。CNC で。
Yeah, actually, Apple started to make their own products in domestically. It's CNC.
CNC。
CNC.
いや、CNC。
What is CNC?
No.
アップル。
Apple.
Yeah,
Apple.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
で、たくさんの日本の企業の人たちが確かに作る機能は自分たちの周りにあった方がいいなってことを理解し始めています。
So now Japanese big companies are now realizing that we better to have the factory in domestic area. Yeah.
で、もしトーマスが日本の経済産業省の局長だったら、何とアドバイスしますか、ラージカンパニーの人たちに。
Yeah. Do you have any comment on the Japanese government, like METI, the economic department of Japanese government? Do you have any comment? What kind of advice do you have?
Wow. Yeah, me as an advisor of the Spanish government. Yeah, it's very. What you just said is basically showing like all the keys, no? Like the technology we created so far in the 20th century introduced the production line. The production line is very interesting because there are. I find there's this book that is called Sex, Bombs, and Burgers.
Sex,
Bombs, and Burgers. And say how it was wrote by Peter Novak, and he explains how the porn industry, the military industry, and the fast food industry has created the world as we understand it today. Okay, so basically, as I said before, the military industry really powered the advances in technologies, and big companies were born out of it. We can say the porn industry actually have accelerated many things like streaming, we owe streaming, good streaming, thanks to the porn business, because it's moving a lot of money and then allows companies to invest into innovation. And then fast food has removed a big worry from our lives. I mean, if you think about before, our time was invested to get food, and that kept us busy. With the invention of fast food, we have more free time. Then the entertainment business is created. Then the porn made money, and so on and so on and so on. No? So this is all created with a model that it seems to be expiring. No? That's what I think. The extreme position is what we have done. It's like no industries in the cities. We outsource it. Very low cost labor, human labor, that also socially is not sustainable anymore. There are two things that are not sustainable. One is like the lack of knowledge that you have of the things that you use and you consume, and you work in the place that you don't like to make money to buy things, right? So you spend your money to buy your time to get money to buy things. And then what is not the other thing that is not socially sustainable is to have slaves working for us, very cheap to keep the prices of computers very accessible. This is also, we were talking about it yesterday, it's not only about the jobs and the amount of jobs that people have, it's about the level of happiness of how the people are. And that we are moving into what I think that is philosophically, because this is a lot about philosophy. Philosophically, we are moving into a point that we don't want to feel special, but actually we want to feel useful again. And useful not only for myself, but useful for a larger community. And I think that one step is the first step is to empower these communities that are coming around FabLabs. That's one step. And then the other step is like taking it seriously, meaning that building infrastructure in a city scale to bring back industry into the city. I think light industries, I mean, instead of having a Sony office, a big building of Sony, just people sitting in a desk, you should have like a Sony factory in every main city of the world. And then Sony will have a network of knowledge, and then just ship data. And that's compatible, and then with the FabLabs itself. That happened with Sony, that can happen with Fujitsu, that could happen with cars. I mean, Barcelona produced electric car, and Yokohama produced electric car. And there is an exchange of knowledge around it. So that's an interesting thing. And then I think that the investment should go back into productivity, again into the cities. Sorry for the long answer.
どうしよう。エミさん、これ訳す。僕がサマライズする。ちょっと長かったけど、まずやっぱり食の分野でローカルフードという考え方がかなり広まってきましたと。そのマクドナルドみたいなファーストフードではなくて、地産地消で食を維持しようという話がありますと。でかなりそのはしょった要約ですけれども、工業製品でもそれはできるんじゃないかと。でソニーとかがソニーの大きなビルをソニータワーみたいなもので働いているんじゃなくて、各地域に何か小さなソニーファクトリーみたいな工房みたいなのを持って、そこで地域の人たちと何か一緒にやるのがいいと思うと。So in my world, so from yes window shopping to yes work shopping, so that's my phrase. なんかウィンドウショッピングからワークショッピングへというのは僕は言ってるんですが、ソニーの修理の駆け込みのなんか出張所みたいなものがあります。あれなんていうんですか。なんかソニー、
サービスセンター。
ソニーソニーっていう固有名詞は代表的な企業として出しております。で、お客様相談センター、そこが相談するだけじゃなくて何か一緒に何かものを何か作れるようなそんな場所になったらいいんじゃないかというようなことを言っている。
Sony factory might have one of the kind of customer center who can fix the thing together, like FabLab.
あのとシミラリティなんだけれども、多分あのとディファレンスで、バルセロナはアンエンプロイメントが50%
Yeah, under 25 people under 25 is 50%, more than 50%. In general, it's 26%. Right? But the young people is more than 50% of unemployment.
もう 50% 以上がアンプロイメントで、非雇用なんですけども、彼らは毎日どんなことをやってるんですか？
So what the younger generation who employed does normally do?
Yeah, what happened is that in Spain, in the last 20-25 years, the business of construction was very attractive for young people. So people stopped to go to universities and to do other jobs and go to the construction because the business was massive, right? Construction and also services, let's say. So people went for big salaries that were some kind of oasis salary that they would last for some years. And now all those jobs disappear. So those people, they didn't build capacity. And then not everyone can work in services. And that's the big problem. So
what are they doing?
It's unemployed. They're waiting in services, sometimes a waitress or waiter, more in the services, because one of the big industry in Spain is tourism.
Tourism.
That's also a big problem. That having it's a blessing, but it's a big problem. That it gives money, but it also kills any other possibility of other things to emerge. Let's say.
ファブラボはそのアンエンプロイメント、なんか特に若い世代の非雇用に対して何ができるでしょう？
So what can FabLab do for those people who is unemployed?
I mean that's the key of the FabCity. One of the keys is employment, basically. Having this history of people leaving or stopping building capacity and just going for a good salary to buy an Audi and a big flat TV screen, that's over. So now we have to go back and think about the capacities that we didn't build in the past. We don't have time to send those people for 5 or 10 years to universities, right? It would be you basically lose a generation. But if you have experience, and I have experience in a FabLab, in 5 months, where we did it in 3 months in how to make almost anything, you go from 0 to hero, right? And I guess that you experienced that moment in which you finish the how to make almost anything, and you feel Superman, and you feel that you can change the world. So we can do that in a city scale. We can do that with youth, people that they have computer literacy, and we can do it maybe in a 5 month or 1 year basis. And it's built in that capacity that it will actually reactivate this part of economy that could be people that get new skills and can go to work for companies, people that start their own business, or people that they just make good for their own community by having access to these places. So I think that this is what FabLabs can do. It's actually there was a very interesting case in one of the new FabLabs in the city that we are opening. Is in a very depressed neighborhood. With the city council, we started to evacuate the building, right? So, but the people at some point, there were some radical people. They were saying, we don't want an elitist place like MIT because we don't have food, and we want like a food bank. So they invaded the place, and someone was starting to donate food, and they were putting food inside. They say, this cannot be some machines that we don't understand. It should be a place to store food. And the question is, okay, who's going to bring the food? Who is providing the food? Someone else. No? It's like this dependency mentality. And also, it came again this phrase about Confucius. No? It's like, don't give them the fish, give them the means to take the fish. No? And that's exactly what happened there. What we are doing now, we are doing a FabLab based on social innovation and urban farming with the community.
Urban farming.
Urban farming.
なんかこれよく多分国際貢献でよく使われるやつですよ。なんか魚を与えるんじゃなくて、魚をなんていうか釣るための道具を与えるのが本当の支援だみたいなことがよく言われてると 思うんですけども、バルセロナでもそのなんか支援というのが何か新しいビジネスを生み出すための何か道具であったりとか、環境であったりだとか、そういうシステムをバルセロナ市とファブラボバルセロナはかなり密接にですね協力し合って、なんという町としてどうやってそういう新しいビジネスを作っていく環境を作るかというようなことに取り組んでいて、その成果というのがちょっとずつ出始めているというような話だったと思います。なんか大体僕は聞きたいことが聞けたんで、かなり突っ込んで聞いても良いというような、空気も作ったというつもりなんですけれども、何か会場からご質問ありますでしょうか。はい、じゃあ水野先生、マイクロフォン、じゃあちょっと前にありましたね。
どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
もう日本語でいいんですよね。I'm sorry, I'll just continue speaking in Japanese for the sake of all the rest of the audience. Alright. 20代の若い、今のファブラボバルセロナに関しての質問をしたいと思います。
I would like to ask you about FabLab Barcelona.
一つは20代の非正規雇用者、あるいはアンエンプロイド、就職雇用されていない人たちが、50% を超えているという状況についての話です。
about those peoples.
ファブラボに行って技術を得るっていうことは、スキルを得る、ナレッジを得るっていうことはできるっていうことは分かっていますが、ビジネスまでつなげることっていうのはどこで学ぶことができるのか。
I understand
ファブラボでビジネス
の
スキルもないと、ものを作るスキルだけではやっていけないのではないかと心配しています。彼らはどうやって自分たちで暮らすための能力を身につけているんでしょうかっていうのが最初の質問。それが最初の質問です。
That is the first question. Yeah.
はい。
That's a very good question, but it's also related with a bigger strategy plan of the city. And there is already an organization called Barcelona Activa, for instance, in Barcelona, very famous, that has been working for the last 5 years, more than 5 years, in incubating companies and developing business models to new entrepreneurs that not necessarily are in the digital fabrication business. So there are different pieces together and different actors that are going to play that. A FabLab could be a business accelerator or not. Or it could be complemented by other institutions or initiatives in the city that can support that. And what we are not saying, what is very important is to understand that this, when we say Fab cities and we talk about Fab Labs, I don't think it's like a saving entity. It's actually, for me, it's an update to the existing things. It's a plugin that you put it into the existing things, and you actually take it into another level. You take it into another level research, you take it into another level innovation, you take it into another level social innovation, and that basically is accelerating these processes and taking value in that process. It's not just making it faster, just as faster, but actually generating added value while making it faster, which I think is interesting.
それともう一つが、ファブアカデミーに関してです。ファブラボバルセロナのに来る若い人もファブアカデミーを受けているのかもしれませんが、ファブアカデミーを受けるにはかなり高額の受講料を払わないといけないと理解しています。彼らはどうやってお金を捻出するのでしょうか。そしてそのお金の一部はニール・ガーシェンフェルト教授のところに入るということになっていると思いますが、それは結局アメリカに回収されているに過ぎないのではないでしょうか。
Yeah, even though if they could with the funding with the American Foundation, but yeah, those knowledge may be gone to American. Yeah.
No. The knowledge produced in the Fab Academy is owned by the network. Actually, all the content, when you participate in the Fab Academy as a student, all the content of the Fab Academy, you can clone it and put it in your computer. And it's not distance education. you have to understand that it's not like a central place at MIT where the knowledge is stored in a black box and then is delivered to the rest of the world. It's actually, the knowledge is owned by every place in the world. It's distributed education. It's a totally different model. Right now, most of the classes are being taught by Neil Gershenfeld. But as we have the students in everywhere in the world, we will have the professors everywhere in the world. And the content, as again, is not in a server. Actually, we have the server is in Barcelona. The main Fab Academy server is in Barcelona, so it will be owned by us. No, but the whole idea is that it's open, it's available, and also it's distributed. What is very interesting is a model that is arising is companies can build capacity by getting their workers into Fab Academy. And yeah, this is happening. And actually, and where also Fab Academy alumni they're getting a lot of demand, not only to work in other Fab Labs, but actually to work in technological companies, because there is not such profile as someone that knows how to make a website, make their own furniture, program their own microcontrollers, design their circuit boards, 3D scan, 3D printing, all in one. So this is it's becoming very, very interesting, this way in which the funding for students can come through companies, and companies can build capacity and it closes cycle. But the idea of the knowledge being stored in one central place, that is not the case. Actually, you, as a student, you own the archive of Fab Academy when you participate.
ちょっとだけ要約すると、最初の方の質問に対する答えは、なんだっけ、ファブラボだけで、ビジネスはできないんだけども、他にもなんかインキュベーション施設とか、いろんな何か支援をしてくれるアクセサレーターとか、そういうものが一つの街の中にあって、でその一部としてファブラボは機能しているで、特に素早く最初のもの、ファーストプロトタイプを作るという何か機能をバルセロナ市に持ち込んだことによって、他のいろんなインキュベーション、何か施設とも連携が良くなったというようなことを言っていたと思います。それから2番目の質問は、ファブアカデミーのサーバーはバルセロナにあるんだという話プラス、最近やっぱり大企業の人が、ファブアカデミーに何か受講させると、その会社の社員をですね、ファブアカデミーに受講させるというケースが増えていて、それで社員教育みたいなことに当てているというようなことを言っていたと思います。で、実際まだ日本ではここまでちゃんとファブアカデミーを機能させられていないんですけれども、企業から派遣された方の社員教育としてファブアカデミーを運用することで学費を取って、それがファブラボの運営資金になっていくというようなモデルっていうのが割とスペインでは機能しているというようなことだと思います。Okay. Okay. Okay. Yeah. For me. Okay. Yeah. So how to organize a FabX conference?
Exactly. No. No. My question is, which would be like the emphasis that you would put in Yokohama? I mean, in Barcelona we have like 10 districts, and there will be 10 Fab Labs, and the idea of a Fab City is very territorial. Let's say, okay. Yeah. So, but also as I said before, complementary in terms of the existing industry, the existing initiatives of business incubation, and so on. What's happening in Yokohama? What makes Yokohama a potential candidate for a Fab City? What do you think is really the key aspect of that?
横浜のポテンシャルね。OK、そのね、OK、2つ答えをします。One, I really love this diagram. So, environment, education, problem solving, job creation, invention, incubation, innovation ね、もうだったね。で、日本は7つファブラボがあります。 それぞれ全然なんか違います。
Each FabLab has each characteristics.
鎌倉はそう
Yeah, Kamakura has own characteristics.
Electronics.
And Tsukuba is more
and
on
Shibuya is a
electronics.
kind of center of shopping center, but
Yeah.
A lot of artists and designers are working there. And あとね、仙台と大分はね、ローカルガバメントがサポートし始めました。
Actually, Sendai and Oita, actually, local government is supporting very much. I started, yeah,
で、
to support.
日本はスペインってどれぐらい大きさだっけ？
How big is Spain compared to Japan? Do you know that? The size of the
Spain is like 400 million square kilometers. Population 50 million.
日本はまずそのファブラボの間をいろんな人たちが行き来をしています。
Yeah, actually, in Japanese case, there are so many people going back and forth each FabLab space.
そうゆかさんが横浜に来たりとかメンバーが
Yeah, actually, Yuka is coming to Yokohama, and some member from Yokohama going to Kitakagaya in the Osaka, or going to Sendai, or
ネットワーキング
yeah, that kind of network.
でその中で横浜のポテンシャルはね、それがアンサーナンバー2なんだけど、そのスマートシティ。
Yeah, because Yokohama is a smart city.
The artists and designers, a lot of.
Yeah, there are a lot of artists and designers.
And a lot of 多国籍、so
multinational region.
その3つがあると思います。
Yeah, those 3 points kind of can make it FabCity.
で、僕は北海道生まれなので。
Actually, I was born in Hokkaido and raised.
Funky, the word funky はね、farmer's life style.
Yeah, he loves farmer's life, like.
Farmer's life スタイルとなんというスマートテクノロジーをいかになんとか組み合わせるかにすごい興味があります。
He's very interested in how to mash up those different kinds of.
で横浜は、今通訳をしてくれる高橋恵美さんがファーマーをやっていて、ファムなんか地域農園をやっていて、割と農業の人もいるし、いろんな面白い人たちがたくさん。
Actually, me doing the farming thing just a little bit, but yeah, there are so many people resources.
なのでファブラボをそのハブのように使っていろんななんかクリエイティブな人たちを結びつけたいと思っています。
Yeah, we would like to connect those many kind of peoples at FabLabs and make it FabCity.
That's my answer. はい。あと10分ぐらいあるので、じゃあ質問はいお願いします。
10 more minutes left.
どなたかマイクをお願いします。
Thank you very much, Thomas. I have one basic question. The word of FAB FabLab, it is not so popular in the Japanese society, especially middle age, or not only also senior age. If I go to the foreign countries and I speak about FAB lab, it's most of citizens understanding the FAB. It's popular. It's in Japan, it's not so popular. Therefore, I have to explain one by one. It is very difficult. I learned yesterday from Mr. Tanaka yesterday, but I can't not remember now. And, it's better to make a Japanese word. It should be. I think. And therefore, we don't senior ages that not understandable. Okay. How do you think, Mr. Thomas?
How to help the Japanese culture to understand FabLabs?
Yeah,
Fab.
The way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say the story of us. We started in 2007. But that time there were like 8 Fab Labs in the world. And I remember it was me and 2 colleagues in a space more or less as big as this, with a lot of machines. And it was like that, mostly the 3 of us, for a lot of time. And we were like trying to bring our friends and our, trying to, to explain what we are doing. What are you working in? Is like, I work with machines. We use machines to make stuff. And why do you make stuff? Why you are making stuff? You can buy it. Why do you make it? So, in the first workshop, as I showed with the kids, they were kids of friends that we made them come. So it was the beginning was very tough. And when I'm from Venezuela, I had to Skype with my parents, and it was, okay, what you are working at? It's like, yeah, I'm working with 3D printers and stuff. They didn't understand. Today, we have around 200 visitors per week to the Fab Lab. And we have to, I feel like Mickey Mouse sometimes. Because you have to show, and you show that you have to perform, oh, the 3D printer, oh, yeah, I saw it in the TV, oh, it's everywhere, And it's becoming, and it's like, now, I mean, I can say more and more people, I say, what do you work in a Fab Lab? Ah, Fab Lab. Or just, if they say Fab Lab, what is that? 3D printing? And I say, yeah, 3D printing. So I think
exactly same in Japan.
So culturally speaking, we are getting more and more used to make again. It now became trendy to make. It's like I make stuff. I'm a maker. Now it becomes like, wow, you get more girls if you're a maker. No? It's like it's cool to be a maker again, which is awkward because we have always been makers. So this is, culturally speaking, this is becoming a trend, which is good and bad. What we want to make sure is this trend, it goes beyond the hipster kind of, I would say like a very vain and empty kind of thinking, just doing for fashion, but actually to build like a strong foundations of that this is connected to a technological change, like a very important one. No? So, I mean, the tendency is saying that it will be more and more easy to explain people what this is about. People will get tired people will have more and more curiosity of how things are made. Knowledge is more accessible, and I think that this is unstoppable. So don't worry, it will happen. But I mean, if in 7 years, this happen, I cannot in the next 7 years. Yeah, I mean, they happen. Yeah.
まあなんというか 3D プリンターがメディアで大話題なのはご承知の通りなんですけど、多分今年ぐらいこの辺に来て、もう来年ぐらい行くともうメディアの話題から全く取り上げられなくなるはずで、今メディアから今言った取れないのね、バーチャルリアリティ、そうでもないか、Google グラスとか出て、AR か、それは。あとね、ちょっと昔流行って今もう忘れ去られてるものとしては、なんというかジェスチャーコントロールね、こうピュッてやったらこう画面が動くやつとかね、メディアは全然取り上げられなく、もう常に新しいニュースしか取り上げないので、ある時に新しいニュースをたくさん取り上げたら、その次には絶対に取り上げなくなるんですけれども。
And actually we are, if you think about, it's a peak of inflated expectations. I think one of the most inflated thing is the 3D printing. As I said before, 3D printing is great, but it's for sure it's not going to be the big thing. The big thing is bringing back productivity into people, not in their houses, but in community spaces like Fab Labs. And I think that corporations and all-minded people understand that it's not only about single machine, it's about getting back people together to fabricate. This thing. That's an interesting piece.
はい、ファブラボは人と人と集まって共にデジタルファブリケーションの技術を使って人とするものを作ることであると。 でそれはなかなかこうメディアの報道には乗りにくいこう深みというか複雑さを持っているというので、実際に空間に来てもらうとか人から人へとその何かなんていうかスピリットみたいなものをこう伝達させるというのが、一番好ましいのではないかというようなことっていうのを思っています。はい、どうもありがとうございました。Next question, the last. 誰か最後のクエスチョン。ゆうかさん。じゃあ、You are the last one.
バルセロナに10個ファブラボが。
There are 10 FabLab in Barcelona. Do you have 10 FabLab in Barcelona?
Not today.
Not today. How many FabLab in now?
1, 2, 3.
3.
1, 2, 3.
3. Yeah. 3 and a half.
同じ機能を持ってるんですかね。それとも特性を持ったものが分散している。
Do they have same function? Each FabLab has the same.
The idea, as you were explaining before, as Hiro was explaining before about how each FabLab finds its own speciality. I think that sometimes depends on the context, the neighborhood where it's located, the people that is driving that FabLab is very important. If you have your FabLab managers are more into electronics, you will of course get more enhanced electronic, or it's more in furniture design, it will be more in furniture design. But the general strategy around the FabCity is actually to develop these specializations in a neighborhood scale or in a district scale. Barcelona has 10 districts. So when I was saying before, the territorial approach is in the district scale. I think it should get into the neighborhood scale, even in a higher resolution, which are 84?
73.
73? You kill the other ones? 73 neighborhoods. And imagine 73 microfactories located with the very specific necessities of the people. No? So the ones that are existing now is FabLab Barcelona, which has a lot of architecture, urbanism, and design approach. And it was the first FabLab of the city, is kind of putting a little bit of a vision. The Green FabLab, completely related with the next generation of FabLabs and thinking about these implications of the relationship between technology and nature, but also the new materials and finding more sustainable practices around digital fabrication.
Why are they?
And then the Atheneum, the Fabrication Atheneum is how the public sector calls their FabLabs. It's Fabrication Atheneums. They have a FabLab inside, but they wanted to take it into a higher cultural level. Let's say they want to relate it with other cultural aspects of the neighborhoods that are not necessarily technological. And that one, the first one, is located near the Football Club Barcelona Stadium, actually, in the same neighborhood. And it will be oriented towards accessibility and people with disadvantages. And then the FabLab, the other one, the half FabLab, that is in this place I told you that people invaded the space for the food bank, is going to be in social innovation and urban farming. Yeah. And then we will start to find music, and then we will fashion and arts and so on. No? So I think that each FabLab will start to develop its specialty depending on different contexts and characters. But we should think as a complementary system. So I can imagine that Barcelona and Yokohama, they have a library of projects and materials. Yeah. You have, and then you know that if you want a chair in Barcelona, you see the designs that you have, you see the materials that are available in relation with the local materials that you can find, and you see where you can manufacture them. So that is something that we can work together. It's something that we can do like at our own, this kind of FabCity platform. We can do that together.
バルセロナ市が全部をオーガナイズしてるっていうのか、それとも個々のラボが
Is Barcelona city is organizing those things, or each FabLab is organizing it?
Yeah, the vision of FabCity actually, the FabCity project is a joint venture between FabLab Barcelona and Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, Barcelona City Council, Center for Bits and Atoms, MIT, and the Fab Foundation.
Oh, I see.
This is the governance of FabCity is between these four main actors. The Barcelona City Council will put their fabrication atheneums in the mix. FabLab Barcelona will put its Fab Labs and its vision of and its experience, let's say. But the private initiatives should be supported as well. This is a discussion that we were having today, like how the Barcelona City Council and their Fab Labs doesn't become like a monopoly of digital fabrication in the city. That's very important. It should be a variety of initiatives. The city should be an enabler and not a controller. And this is where I think that interesting discussions will happen. Okay. We were in the taxi all day discussing about it.
終わりにですね、なんかちょうどそうしようと思ってたんですけど、今日バルセロナ市から、今回なんていうかジュリアさんがいらっしゃっていまして、ご紹介して終わろうと思っているんですけれども、横浜市とバルセロナ市はスマートシティ、協定というのを結んでいまして、昨日実はスマートシティのシンポジウムの方もあったんですけども、そこでジュリアさんがバルセロナ市のスマートシティの試みを紹介されました。ジュリアさん
Introduce yourself. Yeah, she's Julia.
で、だけども時間がないのでファイナルなリマークをジュリアさんから無茶ぶりなのですけども、ファブラボに何を期待しているかをなんていうか市の立場からぜひちょっとコメントをください。
Yeah, could you say that any expectation to the FabLab from the point of view as a FabLab city? Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. Surprise. Well, you have to invite me one tonight. I think that our colleague Tomas has covered very well the expectations from the city. Today we were commenting not only with our peer colleagues from Yokohama, but also with Tomas, which is not only a good friend, a colleague, but someone that is helping us constructing the city. So the first conclusion is that although we believe that we as cities should have a leadership in this kind of initiative, we cannot forget that we cannot do it alone. So it's very important that for any kind of initiative, we do it together with the ones that are in the day-to-day, like Tomas, since many years. So for the city, this means concretely the project around Fab Labs, which is conceived as Fab City. This conceptualization means another way more to make our citizens evolve and also our city. So it might be, because we don't know for sure yet, but it might be, we forecast that it's a very, very important and we can predict space in which we can train our citizens. Because according to this development process that you were showing on the screen, it is very important to teach, to not only to close the digital gap that it's affecting our society very much, but also to train our people so that they can imagine services, they can imagine projects, and they can imagine companies that don't even exist at this moment. So for us, this is what represents Fab City in the city of Barcelona, the idea of the city of the future.
非常に長いコメントだったんですけど、市としてもですね、別に何か市を単独で次の街づくりというか都市づくりはできないと思っていて、いろんな人たちと一緒に協力をしなければいけないと。で特にトーマスのように何かスペースを持ってそこでいろんな人たちを集めてで何か学び共に学び、そして何か作り、そしてそこからどんなサービスや何かビジネスが できるのかというのを、一緒に考えると、そういうようなやり方っていうのが、次の都市づくりなのではないかというようなことっていうのを言っていまして、かなりバルセロナ市の中とですね、その周りのファブラボっていうのはとても何かいい関係を作りながら、その市の中にもいろんな種類のファッションとかアートとかフードとか何かタイプのラボがあって、そういうものが相互補完的にこう機能しながらバルセロナ市というものをみんなで作っているというような空気っていうのが生まれているというか、生み出したいというようなお話でした。So now is the time ね、もう10なので、ごめんなさい、9時なので、ここで一旦切って、一旦終わり、食事なんかも用意してくださっていますので、あとまたソーシャライジングというか、自由にいろいろその話しかけてですね、せっかくの機会ですから、交流をして、あとファブ10にどうやったら参加できるんだということなんかも直接聞いていただけたらと思います。ではもう一回最後にじゃあスピーカーの皆様に拍手をお願いします。どうもありがとうございました。Thank you very much, audiences in remote. Thank you very much. Bye. See you in Fab 10. Bye. Bye.